Hi, everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So, Godzilla Kong, The New Empire is a monster film directed by Adam Wingard, produced by Legendary Pictures. It's a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, and the fifth movie in the MonsterVerse franchise. In the movie, Godzilla uh, encounters more of the species in Hollow Earth and he must unite with Godzilla. I'm sorry, Kong and Godzilla must unite to stop their tyrannical leader and a powerful frost-breathing titan from destroying the surface. Okay. So yeah, as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I thought the cast was great. I liked Rebecca Hall in this. She was in the last movie as well, but she's kind of more the main character in this one, I guess, or there's not as many characters in this one. So yeah, I liked her. I thought she was good in this. I always like Brian Tyree Henry. Again, he was in the last movie. And even I will say in the last movie, his character at first I didn't quite buy just because I'm not used to seeing him play that type of character. But now that I'm more used to his character, I like seeing him back in here. And I really liked his interaction with Dan Stevens. I always love Dan Stevens. He's great. I liked him since The Guest, which was Adam Wingard's movie. And yeah, he's fun. He's just a fun character. Walks in, he's all cool and suave and doing the working on Kong's teeth and all that stuff. And yeah, good stuff. And I really liked their interactions together. I thought they had a really fun dynamic. I would love to see those two guys in like a buddy cop movie or something like that. That'd be great. I liked Kaylee Hottle as Gia. She came back from the last one. Alex Ferns is Michael, the Scottish guy. He's fun. Yeah, I think I just like Scottish accents, and I like seeing different accents. So you've got his accent, you've got Rachel House has got that very New Zealand Kiwi kind of accent. So like having those two play off each other was really fun. I love her from all the Taika Waititi stuff, so it was fun to see her show up in this. And Fala Chen is the Iwi Queen. She doesn't do much, but she's the Iwi Queen. So hey, whatever. I thought the cinematography in this was good. It was by Ben Saracen. He did Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, Unstoppable, which I think he got nominated for an Oscar for. World War Z and the Godzilla vs. Kong, the last movie. I like the music in this. It was by Tom Holkenborg, who is Junkie XL, is the name he goes by. He did Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. He also did Mad Max Fury Road, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. He does a bunch of stuff. But I really like the soundtrack in this one and in the last one. I think he did the last one as well, maybe not. But either way, in this one and in the last one as well, there's some really cool like 80s synth kind of very chill like vaporwave kind of sounds that I really enjoy. And it's only for a few seconds, but it's really cool and I really like that. I like the soundtrack in this as well. It's got some cool 80s, 70s, 80s stuff in there, like Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You, Badfinger, Day After Day, Golden Earring, Twilight Zone, Loverboy, Turn Me Loose, like a lot of cool stuff. It was all, kind of a classic rock, which the movie, as far as I know, wasn't set in the 80s. I don't know why they picked these 80s songs, but yeah, I like those songs. And I like that, again, they weren't overplayed. They weren't, the songs you hear in every single movie. And I think they really fit the scenes pretty well. I really liked it. Like I said, I really liked Henry and Steven's dynamic together. They were great. I really like the visual style and the production design on this one. I noticed there was a lot of purple and pinks in this movie, which was kind of cool. Even like Godzilla, they changed his scales to make them pink, which I don't know how much I like that exactly. It was just a little weird for me, but I did appreciate because watching the last movie, also directed by Adam Wingard, there was a lot of like neon, a lot of lights, and a lot of like orange and blue because that was like for the last 10 years has been like the big like sci-fi colors is like this kind of orange and teal. This one I like how they went kind of more purple and pink and more like 80s and stuff, and I appreciated that. Some really good visual effects in this movie. I'd heard other people say that the visual effects were good, but watching some of the trailers, they didn't look so great, and I was a little concerned. But I think for the most part, they're great. There's one or two scenes that aren't perfect, specifically when like there's like liquid dripping. Then I'm like, yeah, that looks a little fake to me. And maybe some of the effects on the faces of the apes could be a little bit better. But overall, I think the visual effects were very good, and I really enjoyed them. And I think there's some really good nonverbal storytelling in this movie. I think is if anything, that's what I would praise about the movie the most. There's a couple scenes where there's no talking at all. It's all CGI. So it's almost in some ways similar to like the newer Apes movies. But yeah, when the whole scene with Zuko's introduction, which you kind of see in the trailer, you see this cute little monkey, it's Ape, and he's looking up at Kong, and I'm thinking, okay, they're doing the baby Groot thing, the mini Puff thing, the baby Yoda thing. But no, then the monkey, like again, spoilers, I did say that earlier. The monkey bites him. And it's kind of funny, but then like surprisingly, when the other apes attack him, you realize it's like an ambush. He grabs the little monkey Suko and starts using him as a weapon to hit the other people, which was hilarious to me. I love that kind of just over the top, ridiculous, violent slapstick. And they do show that Suko was fine. He was okay. But that was really interesting. And then there's this whole fight with this ape who gets like thrown off the cliff, and Kong goes to save him, which to me almost seemed a little out of character to Kong, but I guess that's the way Kong's supposed to be, at least in these movies here. But yeah, then he like saves the guy, and then the ape tries to throw him back over the cliff, and you're like, oh my God, again, this is all worthless. This is all just, CGI constructs, but it really worked for me. The whole fight with Scar King, I thought really worked as well. Like I really enjoyed it. I love, speaking of Scar King, his whip. He's got this like whip that he uses as a weapon. It's got the piece of whatever it is, the magic rock thing on it. That's cool, dude. That's awesome, man. As soon as I saw him pull that thing out and start whipping it around, I'm like, oh, come on, that's fucking cool, dude. Like, even if you hated this movie, I think that's a cool weapon, man. That's enjoyable. And there's a lot of spines in this. There's also like the skeleton kind of spine bridge they go over, which again I thought was really cool. It was just a cool idea. You see this, just it's a dead giant monster, body skeleton hanging over this whatever ravine crevasse, and they're walking over, and you can see it flexing as they walk. That was really really cool. I really enjoyed that. I'm in Godzilla, or I'm sorry, King Kong's whole fight, where again, Suko like lures him into this water where there's this big serpent creature that attacks him. But Godzilla takes that out, or Godzilla, goddamn, I keep doing that. King Kong. King Kong takes it out, and it's great. Good stuff. I really enjoyed the fight scenes. I really enjoyed all of that. It was also cool to see some other monsters in here, like Shimo, who I don't know if he's a new one or just created for this, but cool design in there. Mothra, of course, the classic, and they didn't spoil that in the trailers or anything, so it was cool to see that as a surprise. Tiamat shows up at some point, which is cool too, and I really like Suko, who Baby Kong, Diddy Kong, Kongzuki. I don't know what they're calling him in this, but I think they do call him something at some point. But yeah, I liked him. He's a fun character. I liked the anti-gravity stuff, or specifically what I liked is the using gravity as a power source, which is just something I think, sci-fi has theorized about for a long time. But like, yeah, seeing them doing this movie, it doesn't really make sense, but like, still, it's a cool idea. I did like toward the end, they show Godzilla curling up and sleeping in the Coliseum, and I just thought that was cute. That's just a nice little idea. Like, oh, there he is, and I appreciated that the movie didn't have a post-credit scene, or at least I hope it didn't. I was told it didn't, so I didn't stay. But yeah, in this day, you never know. And then there's a post-credit, there's a mid-credit scene, and you got to sit there and wait, to make sure. And in some ways, that is cool, and I do like it. But in some ways, I've gotten a little sick of it, and I feel bad for the theater people who work there, because they're sitting there waiting, like, come on, man, just I know, yeah, it's post-credit scene, but like just watch it online. We got to clean. So yeah. As far as what I disliked about the movie, I noticed there's no Millie Bobby Brown or Julian Dennison or Kyle Chandler in this. That's not a big deal. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of Millie Bobby Brown or Kyle Chandler, but I do like Julian Dennison a lot. I like Kyle Chandler too. And I don't know. I don't think their characters are exactly missed, but I was just, I guess, a little surprised that they weren't in here. But then again, probably, saved him some money. And I think this movie did have a lower budget than some of the other MonsterVerse movies. There's not a lot of Godzilla in this movie at all, considering he gets top billing. It's called Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. Yeah, he's really barely in it. He's got like 2 or 3 scenes, I think, if I'm wrong. But yeah, the movie's mostly about Kong and Little Kong and the people as well. But yeah, Godzilla barely shows up at all. So a little disappointing for me, honestly. I expected a little bit more Godzilla. There's not really much character development or arcs. I mean, there's sort of the thing with the girl who kind of has to become the ruler of her people or whatever. But other than that, yeah, like Trapper, Dan Stevens' character doesn't really have any sort of a character arc or anything, and neither does Brian Tyree Henry's character. So yeah, but again, I don't really expect this movie to do much of that. Hollow Earth is ridiculous. As soon as they brought up Hollow Earth a couple movies ago, I'm like, oh God, because it is a real scientific theory. There are some actual people who really think the Earth is hollow, which is just insane to me. It's ridiculous. So I'm like, okay. And so like, even somebody pointed out, like, where is the sunlight coming from in this hollow Earth? How does that work? It doesn't really make any sense. And the Scar King name, I just thought it was kind of a lame name, just kind of a first draft kind of name. Like, I don't know, what do we call him? I don't know, what was the name of the bad guy in Lion King? Scar? Oh, let's call him Scar. But he's King Kong. Scar King. Scar Kong? Oh, we'll come up with something better later. And then they're just like, it's Scar King. I guess that's what it is. So yeah. Other than that, movie is directed by Adam Wingard. He did The Guest, You're Next, Death Note, the Blair Witch remake from 10 years ago or so, and the last Godzilla Kong movie, Godzilla versus Kong. It was written by Terry Rossio, who did Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. I don't know if that was the first one or what. I don't know. I don't really know those movies very well. He did the first Shrek, Aladdin, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Simon Barrett, who works with Adam Wingard a lot, he did You're Next, The Guest, Blair Witch. And Jeremy Slater, who wrote the Fantastic Four movie, the one with Miles Teller from a few years ago, the most recent one, I guess. He also worked in the Exorcist TV show, Moon Knight TV show, and the Umbrella Academy. And I think Adam Wingard also gets a story by credit on this one. So yeah, story is maybe not the strongest point of this one. There's some fun stuff in there, but yeah, not any memorable dialogue that I can really think of off the top of my head. Yeah. Either way, budget on this one, 135 million. So again, I think a bit lower than some of the last monster movies, but I think it works. It looks good. And box office so far has made $195 million worldwide. So I mean, usually movies have to double their budget to be profitable. So it'd have to probably make about 270 million to be the break even point. So yeah, the movie's doing fine. I mean, in 1 week, 195 million, it's going to make money. It's going to be fine. It made $80 million domestically, which they projected it to make like 50 to 55 million. So yeah, movie did even better than they expected, and that's always good to hear. And I'm sure Legendary and Universal, whoever are very excited about this. So yeah, Rotten Tomatoes on this one is kind of interesting because the critics do not like this very much. The critics are at 55%. Well, the audience is at 92%. And we have seen this happen a couple times. This might be one of the biggest divides I've seen. But in this one, I side more with the audience. This was good, clean fun. It's monsters hitting each other. That's all I wanted to see. I wasn't expecting any more. I think there is maybe an issue with Godzilla -1 just came out a couple months ago, and that movie was amazing. Really, really good. So I can see going into that, and I didn't expect much out of that movie either. And it was a really well told story and a really good movie. And so I think if you expected that going into this, yeah, you're not going to get that. But that's not what this movie is. This is a popcorn movie. This is a Hollywood movie, not a intelligent, well thought out movie. So I don't know. I side more with the audience in this one. I like that it's kind of dumb and I didn't have to think about it. I just had to shut my brain off and just watch monsters fight each other. This is the 38th film of the Godzilla franchise, the 13th film in the King Kong franchise. And yeah, so it made 37 million on its first day, 10 million just from Thursday night alone, which is the best a MonsterVerse has ever done. It's the second best weekend of the series, and it's the fifth best Easter weekend of all time. So yeah, the movie did really, really well. I do think someone mentioned recently the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I really didn't like very much. And I didn't like it because it was just kind of boring and there wasn't anything going on. There's no character development. The story wasn't very interesting. It just seemed like a cash grab. Whereas I can see how you can compare the two, but I guess for me, I didn't expect more out of this, and I'm fine with it being what it is. Or I always say like the Fast and Furious movies, the kind of thing. Some people get them. I don't like them. I think they're stupid, but like I think maybe it's that kind of a thing. I do think the title is stupid though, because a lot of people didn't know what to call it. Is it Godzilla X Kong? Is it Godzilla Cross Kong? Is it according to Wingard, the X is silent. So it's Godzilla Kong, the New Empire, which I think is pretty common in like animes where it's like Hunter x Hunter or Spy Family. But I don't know. I'm not really big into animes either, so I don't know. I don't know why they chose to do this. I mean, I guess Godzilla is a Japanese property, so it does kind of make sense. But it is interesting that so much Japanese culture is making its way. Like we do the S tier and the A tier now, which is a Japanese thing too. But so yeah, I did wonder about the whole why is there light in the Middle Earth thing, and apparently, according to the previous movie, because gravity goes haywire inside Hollow Earth's inverted shell. One of the only navigational constants is the pulsating storm overhead that provides the realm's only source of light. This pseudo sun shines on misted rainforest and pinnacles of black granite as the landscape curves upward in every direction. So there's apparently some storm overhead that's causing the artificial light there. So apparently it's always lights in Middle Earth and it never goes dark, is the explanation. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a little dumb. I will admit that. But at the end of the day, what I wanted out of this was to see Godzilla and Kong fighting other monsters, teaming up together to fight. And that's what I got, for the most part. A lot more Kong than Godzilla, and I wish I would have got more than that. And it would have been nice to have a little more of a plot or a little more of a character development. And honestly, yeah, I do hate the Hollow Earth thing. I wish they would have just not did that. Because part of what bothers me about that is the entire point of Godzilla is it's an allegory for the United States, for the nuclear attacks that that the United States committed against Japan in 1945. So, and then now being like, oh no, they just come from the middle of the earth. Well, that's ruining the entire allegory then, isn't it? Isn't the point supposed to be that we were doing nuclear testing and that caused the So yeah, but that being said, the movie delivered what I wanted out of it. So I did still really enjoy it, and I'd probably watch it again. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it, and I definitely recommend it. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night. I will see you here again next week.